Today we're working on the 275 GTB4, and if you remember, we restored it a couple of videos ago, but as you can see, it is really nice out, and usually when I'm in the spot, I'm freezing cold. I'm not wearing my black shirt because it's 92 degrees, so it's super hot and humid, and tomorrow is a very big concours around where we live. So remember, I did this car, we restored it. It actually looks pretty damn good, but if you go to a concours, they're gonna be freaking out over every little thing. And just like you should, this owner does the same thing. He drives the heck out of his car. So the wheels are all dirty, there's dust and stuff all over, but by normal means, it's not really dirty, but is it perfect to be put on display? No. So today's episode is gonna go over a few quick steps. It's nothing complicated on how to prepare a car right before you go to the show. That's kind of the key. So right now you can take this out and drive it and everything will look great, and short of your friends and detailing nerds like us are going to see little imperfections here and there, but to the normal people, they're going to think that car is spectacular, which it is, but it's these little tiny things that we're going to go over today is what's going to set you apart when you go to the car show. That's all coming up today. Most of you have seen me do this 1,000 times, so we're going to address the wheels first. I have my soap right here. I have my sip a little bit of soap. I have my my water over here, soap bucket with all my tools. I have a cleaner that we're going to use. Pretty basic. If you want to see the full steps, go back to one of the other videos. I have hundreds of videos about how to clean the wheels. The idea is to do them first, remove all the major gunk, and then to focus on the underneath of the car as well as the wheel wells. That's kind of the deepest cleaning that you're going to do, because the top of the car is just not dirty at all, but the wheels are always going to be nasty. So that's kind of step one in preparation of you going to this car event. So I'm going to get to this and we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we've cleaned the wheels. They're wet, so we didn't dry them down or any of that. As you can see, again, it's really perfectly bright, beautiful sunny day, which is wonderful, but not exactly great for washing a car. What I'm going to do is rinse it down. I'm not washing it. I'm going to rinse it and then pull it in the shade. In this case, I'm going to pull it back in the garage, and I'm going to do all the cleaning, which is the next step I'm going to show you, inside out of the sun. So we're going to rinse it out and then bring it in. So we pulled the car inside the garage, in this awful, horrible garage. If there was a bathroom in here, I'd probably live on or sleep on the floor. But anyways, so we pulled it inside, or move it into the shade, or wherever you can get out of the sun. Water's still on the car. I have a damp microfiber towel. Squeeze it out just a little bit. See, a little bit of water comes out. Now it's damp. Take your hydrate. I know we've done this a few times. 1 or 2 squirts on there, and you're going to work from the top to the bottom. Again, we're going to go over some more interesting information, I should say. We've done this 100 times, but this is all about show car preparation right before you go to the show. That's kind of the key to everything here. So essentially, I'm going to go over the entire car, top to bottom, and what we're going to do is we're going to, in the next little clip, I'm going to get a different towel, and we're going to work the bottom of the car with different towels. And I have my entire bag. For this car, I'm probably going to go through 5 or 6 different microfiber towels, and I'm going to look at it every single time and see if there's any gunk on it, and just keep flipping and flipping and flipping. So that's just how, overall step 1 is just how to remove the little bit of dust and a little bit of dirt so it's back in that same condition that we had after I spent 20 hours on this. We're going to be able to achieve that same look in a matter of 15-20 minutes. So let's just do this. This is just setting the stage for us getting ready to go to the show, and I'll show you a couple of steps that we need to do right before we go. Then we're going to show you what we do when we're at the show. Now that I've dried the entire car, I leave the bottom area for the last part to do. Now, as you can see, I changed microfiber towels. Before I had an orange one, I think it was, and now I'm on yellow. Take a few squirts. All right, put it over there, nice and clean. Underneath there, I'm barely putting any pressure, just enough to hold it up there. Right? Now look at that leading edge. So I just picked up all the gunk, and a lot of it's from the brake dust that kicks up down here. That's kind of the trick. So I fold it over, just pick up the rest of the little bits, And now, for all intents and purposes, the car is back in the same condition that it was after I spent 20 hours. So that's kind of fun. After you put all that effort and time into restoring a car, if you wash it and maintain it or touch it properly, 2 seconds, bang, it's right in the position, right in the same condition. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on the chrome because you don't really wanna do that at the car show, especially if you're getting judged. So we're gonna do a little bit of the chrome here, or actually we're gonna do all the chrome here, and then we're gonna talk about some tricks and things you shouldn't do here and you should do at the car show. We're gonna shoot some of that tomorrow. But yeah, let's get going on the chrome. Pretty basic, we've already done that with the restoration. This is just a quick, maybe 1-2 minutes per wheel, and move on to the next one. All right, now that we finished the chrome and it's all looking good, and before we do the glass, the obvious step is I'm going to put carnauba wax on top of the paint. As you can see, I'm using straight line motions. Now we'll do a very quick recap. Carnauba wax is going to give you that wet look, but it doesn't really last all that long. To be honest with you, I don't care. I want it to look a certain way, and putting on carnauba wax takes 10 minutes to do. Now underneath this carnauba wax is sealant. That's the strong, very tough stuff that this will sit on top of. And we're gonna do this to the entire car. Again, straight lines. And unlike sealant, I can do the whole car and do it non-stop. That's what takes, you know, that's why it's so short. It doesn't take any time to do it. So I'll do the whole entire thing, then come back and remove it. Be super easy. With skin or sealant, you don't want to do that. You want to do one panel at a time because it's super sticky. It wants to stick and adhere to the paint. So this is the next little step. And again, tomorrow is the actual car show. So this will last, you know, a couple days, if not weeks, depending on how you wash it. But because this takes no time to do it, there's no excuse in my book just to take a few minutes and put this on here, and it looks, boom, it pops off. So let me finish the rest of the car, and we'll go over some of the steps that we're not gonna do, and then we'll switch over till tomorrow, and I'll show you the steps that you do at the car show. All right, 2 quick things I want to talk about when you're waxing a car that I've gotten a few questions about, and something that's been on my mind. One of my little tricks that I like to do is when I'm holding the can, I'm right-handed, so when I'm holding the jar in my left hand, before I go back and pick up some more cream or carnauba wax, what I'm doing is I take my pad and I just quickly stroke it on the outside of the rim. So I go like that, go back in, do what I'm going to do, and I'm all out of wax. I come back in. You see I just barely skim the surface of it, and as you'll see, some of the little, I'll get a close-up, sometimes it gets all the little occasionally you get little boogers on here, you know what I mean? If you're cleaning it and you catch a spot that you missed, which is fine, everyone's gonna miss, that's the whole idea with cleaning the car with a microfiber towel and hydrate. You're gonna miss spots, you're a human being, it's fine. So I'm always doing these little fail safes that I do to make sure that the car doesn't, especially a $2 million car, doesn't get scratched. And somebody came up to me while I was doing something and they said, what's that little move you're doing? I didn't even register in my brain, I just have these habits. And one of them is holding like this. Before I go back in, just a very light swipe, just in case there's anything stuck in here, you're gonna knock it out. Put it in there, do this. The second thing is people ask me, hey, what about using a machine to put the wax on? There is no right or wrong answer with this one. If you're asking me personally, I don't. And the reason why I don't is I think machines are used to create enough pressure and heat and all these other things, along with the compound, to level the paint. And because carnauba wax or sealant, there really is, and I'm using in theory, everybody can put a little bit of abrasive in there, but in theory, sealants and waxes don't have any abrasives in it, and I don't think they really should. So I don't need the power of the machine to do that. Again, it's a little bit of a wishy-washy line, and there is no right answer, but if you're just asking me that question, I always do it by hand. I like to feel the paint, I like to see the paint, I like to do my little tricks and all these little things. So a little bit's habit, a little bit is, I just don't think it's necessary, but it doesn't mean I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just answering that question. So carnauba wax is on here. Take clean microfiber towels. We're going to take it off, and then I'll do the little closer on this bit, and we'll patch them together, and we'll do tomorrow's bit, our little segment together, and it should be fun. What's up, guys? We're at the Greenwich Concours today. You remember yesterday we worked on this beautiful 275 GTB4. Now what I'm going to do is prep the car now that we're here, because there's judges walking around, and you see it's grass. We drove up on grass, so all the tires are going to be a little bit nasty. So we're going to go over a few steps on what to do when you're at the actual car show. It's coming up. All right, step one is when you get to the car show, you're going to have tons of dust and dirt on the back side of the car. So what I like to do is, it's 90 degrees out, so I always have water with me, right? But what if you use it on the back of the car? This is my little trick. Take water, lightly drip it on the back bumper in the back area. So what I'm doing is actually carrying the dust and dirt away, and I'm saving some money on spray wax. Now I want to add a little bit of shine while it's still wet. A few squirts. Remember, the idea is to add lubrication, not exactly for shine. We've put tons of carnauba wax on here. I just want to remove the dirt and not manipulate or disturb the carnauba. So I'll take my clean microfiber towel. The first pass is just to pick up the gunk. See, now I'm picking up all this soot, all the stuff that came out of the exhaust because he drove it here. Look at that. Then I'm going to go back with a clean microfiber towel and then buff it off so it looks shiny and perfect again. The idea is not to push too hard to mess with the carnauba wax that I put on it. So I'm going to finish the rest of the back of the car and we'll move on to the wheels. All right, one of the next steps to do is to work on the wheels. Now, before, what I was talking about, I forgot to mention the water. This water is really, really cold, and the idea is to have cold water put on the back, because carnauba wax, especially in this 90-degree blazing hot sun, you don't want to put warm or even lukewarm water on the back of the car, because it's just going to move the carnauba wax around. You want to add layers and layers and layers on top, and the cold water is not going to disturb that. So I wanted to mention that. Now we're on to the wheels. And remember, we didn't put tire shine on it before because we were driving on grass and mud. So now that it's here and it's about to get judged, first thing I'm going to do, and of course I put my one glove on, right? We're going to add a little bit of mud on there. Bring this light shine back out. You don't want too much shine because we are getting judged on authenticity here. You just want it to complement the wheel itself, or the rim. So now we're putting this really sticky stuff on there so that there's no sling, but obviously the car's not moving for a couple of hours and it's going to be in the sun. So we're going to let that sit. Now my next little trick is, what I like to do is take my spray wax, hit the rim just a touch, and clean it up. Now we're just taking off. I mean, this car was driven maybe 6 miles, so just the tiniest little road gunk on there, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put carnauba wax on the actual rim. So this is what I use for the paint, and I have a special little mitt and a special little jar for the rim. So I'm putting a little bit of carnauba wax on the chrome itself, and that's just going to give it an extra little pop when it's getting judged. Leave that on there, remove it. Now the oils in the carnauba wax are going to make that wheel pop. Then last thing to do is, if you have enough space, you can get your hand inside the wheel well, and blacken out all the inside here so that the chrome and the wheel itself pops out. So make sure you do that. I'm going to show you two more tricks. We're going to do the windows, and I'll show you another car that I'm working on, and then I want to go enjoy the show. Now before you get to the paint, the last thing you want to do before that is the glass. But one of these big tips here is, we got cars everywhere. To not get everybody angry, you don't want to spray it on the glass because it's so windy and dusty. You're going to get it on the paint and you're going to get it on the other cars. So what you want to do, like always, a few squirts on the towel. Mind you, this glass isn't dirty. We're just getting off the gunk. Pretty simple. All right, so the last step is to actually remove the dust that's flying all over the place on this car. And it's kind of a little trick that I like to do, because the idea is not to remove the carnauba wax. And before I begin, I want to apologize. My audio system went down. I don't know, I think it's the heat or something, so I'm using a directional mic. So first thing you want to do is you want to really work a small area. You do not want it to dry. This paint is super hot. And the idea is not to push around and play with the carnauba wax on it. So I'm just going to do this tiny area, just a little bit. First one is to come through, and I'm barely touching the paint, just to pick up the dust. So now there's a little bit of residue on there, and now I'm going to come in lightly, push that around. If you push too hard, you're going to start playing with the layers and layers and layers of wax on it. That's kind of the trick, is to build up those layers of carnauba wax so it's going to look wet. Remember, we're at a car show here, so we're doing it. It's a little bit of a different approach because our goal is different. We're not looking for tons and tons of protection. We have that underneath. We're looking for bright, shiny, so that it catches the judge's eye. So that's what I'm going to do the rest of the car in these tiny little sections. But what I see commonly is guys spray the whole section, use one rag, and just keep pushing and pushing. The idea is not to push hard. Pushing hard is not going to equal shininess. That's what you can take away from this little video here. Pushing hard does not equal shininess. You just want to remove the dirt and the dust without actually playing, or, like I keep saying, manipulating the wax underneath. Let the wax do its job. So let me get to it. All right, so here's the car that I just did. And if we go a few cars down, this is another one I did, if you can remember, from the when I did the microfiber episode. There we go. Looking good. And if you see the guy in the green right there, he is Gasper. That's Gasper from Renwork Porsche. He is also in one of the Drive Clean episodes that's coming out pretty soon. So check out that. Interior looks good. There's Gasper. Remember those rims we were working on? Paint looking great. Anyways, I wanted to show you that too. So there's a lot of cars here that we've done. This Ferrari here is also a customer of mine, but I actually didn't do that car. That just came in last minute. Pretty cool. Alright guys, that's it for me. Car looks amazing. There's tons of other cars I gotta go check out. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at larry@ammonyc.com. And as always, thanks for watching.